Welcome guys to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about white noise. I will be showing you how to configure your white noise to your Django project. White noise is a package that helps you to serve your static files in your Django project. So the first thing we do is install Django project, and to do that let's open our command line, our terminal right here. First thing we do is create virtual environment, that is virtual env.env. Remember, .env is the virtual environment name. You can see here it has been created. The next step is to activate it. So to activate it, you have to run this command, source.env. Remember, .env was our virtual environment name. If you go to virtual environment name bin, you will see activated. So we are executing this script right here. So hit enter. You can see our virtual environment has been activated. Once you see something like this on your terminal, this shows that your virtual environment has been activated successfully. So the next step is, let's install Django. Pip install Django. Give it a couple of minutes or less to install. Okay. Taking long. Okay, it is successfully installed. So the next step, let us create Django project. To create Django project, you have to run Django admin start project and give it the name of your project. For me, I'm going to give it as config white noise. Config white noise is the name of my project that I'm creating. So you can decide to give it any name you feel to give it. So let's hit enter to create that project. You can see here we have created that project, and if you open that folder, you will see other files that have automatically been generated by Django. So the next step is you have to change directory into the project directory. So what I mean is we need to be inside our project base. That is, we change it to cd, and then now we are inside our project. We are inside our project. If we list the files, you can see these are the files that were generated by Django when you are creating the project. Okay, you can confirm them right here. Clear? Okay, let's now see if our Django project has been successfully installed and created. So to do that, we need to run the server. If it was successfully created, there will be no errors here. So you can see we have even given the link. So if you go to your browser and paste that link there, you will see the install worked successfully. Congratulations. So that means first we have installed our Django successfully and created the project successfully. The next step, now we need to know what is white noise and why do we need white noise in our Django project, and how to configure it in our Django project the best way. So for me, I normally like to read the documentation of any package that I want to use. So we will go to PyPy, that is Python package index, PyPy, Python package index.org. Right here, I will search for white noise. Okay. So you can see white noise is right here, the first choice. Let's click it. You can see if you want to install it. This is how we will install it. We have a project description right here, brief description on what is white noise and why we need it. So you can read this to know that white noise allows your web app to serve its own static files, making it self-contained unit that can be deployed anywhere without relying on Nginx, Amazon S3, or other external services. Okay, you can see it. At the end here, there is documentation. So this is where we want to go because documentation gives you more information about the package you want to use and how to correctly install it and how to correctly use it. So we will go to documentation. At the documentation, they have given us extensive description of what it is. You can see white noise takes care of best practices for you. For instance, serving compressed content, setting far future cache headers on content which won't change. Okay, so things like our images, those static images that we add in our websites, and also our CSS, those are the things that white noise will be handling. So the requirements you can see, if you have Python 3.8 to Python 3.1, you are supported, but anything less does not support. And also it supports Django version 3.2 to 5.0. Okay, so the first stage of configuring white noise in our Django project is let's install white noise. First of all, we copy that and go to our terminal. Let me stop the server and clear, and then paste it right there. Hit enter. Now it is installed. So go to your project directory. We need to deal with the settings because we are going to set our white noise. So we are going to only interact with this file settings.py. Okay. Then we go back to our documentation and scroll down. You can see they give you specific instructions. Edit your settings.py file and add white noise to the middleware list above all the middleware apart from Django security middleware. So we will copy this white noise middleware exactly as it is and then head back to our editor, look for middleware list right here, and then add the white noise middleware just below the security middleware, like that. Okay, can comment it out as well and say white noise middleware. Yes. And then we go back to the documentation again and see what else can we configure this. And if you want white noise to cache your files and also compress them, you need to add this line in your settings.py. So let's copy it and head back to our editor. On settings.py file again, add that line right here. Okay, you can place this line anywhere in these settings.py, but I prefer to paste that line just below static URL or at the end of the file. So for now, I think we are set from the documentation. If I scroll down, I don't see anything that we need to add unless we move to next. Okay, right, I think we are set. So the next thing we need to create a folder at the base, at the root of our project. So let's call that folder static. So the reason for this folder, this is where we will have our all static files, such as CSS. Create another folder inside that, call it CSS. Another one, JS. This folder will contain all JavaScripts, and this CSS folder will contain all our CSS files. You can as well add inside static. You can as well add images. These are the files that don't need to change. So we need to tell Django get our static files from this folder, which is static. To do that, we will add these lines, static files dir equals to, remember this is a list. We will tell it at our base, that is the root directory of our project. Inside static folder, that is where you will get our static files. You see, this is root project folder, and inside it we have static. That is exactly, we have told Django that get our static files from this folder. Okay, the last step we need to do is define static root. Okay, static root. So we will do that by typing static root equals to base directory static file. So we want to tell Django that once you have collected all those static files from static, dump them into this folder. Okay, so for this, if I leave it like this, these static files will be created at the base of our project. You see, so I don't want that. I want it to be created inside this static. Okay, so you can decide to leave it like that or point it to a different directory, as I'm doing, that is static files. So if I leave it like this, these static files will automatically be created inside static once I collect the statics. So the last stage is we collect the static. Okay, we collect the static. It will be Python manage.py collect static. Okay, you can see it has collected 126 static files, and they have been copied to static files. So you can see static files was successfully created inside static. Okay, so to confirm that our WhiteNoise is rendering any static files from this folder, let's create an app and try to load the static into our HTML templates. So to do that, first of all, we have to configure to tell Django where to find our templates. Let's go to that and say we want you to get our templates at the root, at the base of our project folder. That is, we'll say base directory, and then get it now a folder called templates. Okay, so we create that folder called templates at the root of our project, that is templates. So inside these templates we need to create a base template which will be inherited by other HTML templates. So this is how you do it. Create, we say base.html, okay, and then let's generate a boilerplate HTML5. Can see here. Let me say it, title is white noise, okay, and let's say here block content and block and block, yes, and block, okay. So we have to use any files inside our static. We have to load those static here. So to load it, you have to say load static, okay. So that means any file that is inside the static will be loaded here if used, okay. So let's create an app. Let's say Django admin start app and say example. That is example. And then you have, once you create the app, you have to add it inside the settings. Come here and add it inside the settings under installed apps. So let's call it example. The name was example right here. So let's go to example, and on the views, let's define our home page. So let's say dev home. Let's do request, taking a request, and return render dot request. Then say example home.html. So we haven't created this template yet. So let's go ahead and create this template. So to do that, we go back to our templates and then create home.html. Home.html. We are doing this because we told earlier our Django that get our all templates inside templates folder. So that is why I've created home.html in our templates. Okay. Next, so I created the base HTML. Remember I told you I created this so that we don't have to repeat this head body in every template that we are creating. Instead, let's inherit all these from the base.html. Okay. So what you do is you extend the base.html, that is extends base.html, and then let's say block content, let's say and block. Okay, let's just say let's say h2 homepage. So remember, homepage is extending base.html. So basically anything within block content and end block like this will be rendered inside base.html block content and end block. So let me comment this and say content goes here. Okay. So the next step, we created the view. Now we create the URL. I normally like to create in every app must have its own URLs. So let me create the urls.py, and then let's say from Django.urls import path. Okay, import path. Then let us import the views from dot import views. Now let's create URL patterns. URL patterns. Okay, let's say paths. Okay, and views. Yes. So path views dot home. We are importing this function. We are using this function home. So that is why we said views dot home, and the name is home. And then we have to include this app URL into the project URL using include function. So we go to project URLs. Let me close some of these. Project URLs right here, and then import include, and then paths, then say include example include example.urls. Okay, so this is basically telling Django that you also need to use examples.url as the routing. So if we go back to our, let's run our server. Let's clear this and then run our server. Say python manage.py run server. Okay, and then go to our server right here. You can see at first it was like this, but now it is letting it's showing home page. That means it is rendering this home page that we just created. Okay, so we want to create HTML, no, not HTML, CSS inside our static folder. So let's say styles.css. Okay, and let's style the h2. Let me call it, let me give it a class. Let me say class home, class home. So let's go to our CSS file and style that home. And say font, let's say font size is 40 pixels, and let's say color is red. Okay, for now. If we refresh here, you can see it is not reflecting because we have not included this file inside our base.html. Okay, so let's include this file here. Okay, so we will say link and then use the static and point where we will find the file that we want to use. So for example, we want this styles.css. It is inside the static. We have already initialized it, and also inside the CSS. So it will be CSS styles.css. Okay. So if we try to refresh, we are not getting anything. Why? We need to collect, but here on the server logs you can see we have 200. That means it is working. So let's try to collect it again. So we'll do python manage.py collect static clear. Let's clear the first ones that we had collected and say yes. Okay, you can see the first one was 126, now it is 127. That means it has collected these tiles. Now we run our server python manage.py run server. Okay, now let's go to our home page. That's interesting. Why is it working? Try to add type text. Plus oh yeah, I had a mistake right here. So let's say it's home. Okay. Yeah, you see, it is changing. So basically that is how you configure white noise. So if I can edit here and as well say let's text align center, go back here, you will see changes. So basically that is the best way to create static files and also to configure white noise to serve them. Okay, so that is the end of this video. Please consider subscribing, liking and also commenting. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.